Whoa! Did you see that guy? That was one of the Temptations. I love it. Oh my God. That was a Temptation. Did you see it? He was grooving, baby. Grooving. Ah, it was amazing. I was a Temptation. So I've seen here live and in person. All right. I'm being way too silly. But anyway, let's do part 2 of what we started this morning with period 2. This is actually period 6. I've been very busy. Mickey, stop coughing. Okay. Now, isn't that horrible? Stop coughing. No, don't cough. He's choking. I don't care. Stop choking. I have 60,000 momentum units. Okay. Momentum is mass times velocity. Remember? I'm going 30 meters per second, 30 meters per second, times the mass, which is 2,000 kilograms, 2 metric tons. We're making these numbers up. So 30 times 2,000 is 60,000 momentum units. And that's where we left it this morning. We left it with 60,000 momentum units. Now, part 2. I want to talk about something called the impulse. The impulse is related to momentum, but not to momentum directly. When you're traveling in a truck, an SUV, and you see a red light up ahead, and you apply the brakes slowly, and you eventually come to a stop, and you feel that little jerk at the end, right? It's annoying, isn't it? That little jerk at the end. It's a little annoying, but you deal with it because it's only little, and it only happens with red lights. But how many people have a lot of red lights and then it starts to drive them crazy? Okay, you're driving in an urban setting, and but what's happening is when you're slowing down from 30 meters per second, which is what did we say it was? About 68 miles an hour. That's pretty fast. When you're slowing down, you're slowing this 2 metric ton truck down. You're slowing this truck that has 60,000 kilogram meters per second, 60,000 momentum units. When you slow that down, you're kind of bleeding out those units. You're getting rid of them. You're slowing the velocity. You're bleeding out those units of momentum. And then right at the last second, and you stop, you felt that, didn't you? That little last bit of momentum bleed out of the car, and then you're stopped. An object at rest has 0 momentum. Do you understand that? That was actually pretty cool, wasn't it? Think of momentum as something that's active, dynamic. It only is with something that's moving. Mass times velocity. Makes sense. So when you see that red light, you bleed out that momentum. Correct? You know what that bleeding is called? That bleeding is actually the impulse. So you drain away the impulse. Now, that is not necessarily related to the momentum directly. It's related to the change in momentum, right? I had 60,000 and then I had 0. So my change in momentum is 60,000. 60,000 momentum units drained out of the car. I'm hypnotizing Kelly. She's starting to fall asleep. 60,000 momentum units is draining out of the car. That's the impulse. Isn't there time involved there somehow? Yeah. Isn't there time? Well, that's the impulse. The impulse is a product of force times time. Force T, force time. Force times time. Ft, that's impulse. Impulse is equal to the change in momentum, or the mass times the change in velocity. Mass is constant. Mass is not zero. You have the mass you started with is what you end with. But it's the velocity that really changes. So the change in momentum is going to equal your impulse. Is that, you get that? You sure? See you next time.